So come find your fire. Before I start, I'd like to welcome those of you who will be watching on Facebook and those of you who watch the replay. If you're joining us live on Facebook now, please type #live and feel free to write your comments in the chat. I have Terry monitoring the Facebook chat to let me know any questions that you have. And of course, if you watch the replay, write your comments, I'll check you. For those of you who are with me now live in Zoom, I love interaction. Scott, everybody here has been with me before, so they know that. I love interaction. Feel free to interrupt me. I like when people stay muted at the beginning when they're not talking, but interrupt me if you have a question, either verbally or signal with your hand. I'm happy to deal with it as you have it. Okay, I really like to feel that you guys are connected to me all the way along. So today we're going to talk about the 5 elements. Find your fire means what element are you at core? Are you fire, earth, water, metal, or wood? Now, in Feng Shui, we have, Marjorie seems to be having some connection problems, so she keeps coming in and out. In Feng Shui, the 5 elements that we use, because they're a little different from the elements you might find if you follow Ayurvedic practices, the 5 elements we have of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood are considered among the most important pillars of Feng Shui. The reason is because we believe that everything in your universe can be described or expressed in terms of one or more of the 5 elements of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood, which gives us a beautiful framework for interpreting our world and our lives and ourselves and our relationships and all kinds of things. So we consider them hugely important. And today we're only going to talk about the 5 elements as they relate to personalities. That means you and your personalities. So I am going to run you through one very tiny piece of the 5 elements information. It's what are the personalities of the elements. If you follow along with me on this chart, I'm going to run through each of them vertically. So we start with fire, and the fire personality tends to be passionate, inspiring, far-sighted, energetic, bold. On the slightly risky side, they can be a little dangerous. Each of the elements has their yin and yang section, yin and yang version. The earth element tends to be stable, strong, harmonious, trustworthy. A bit on earth is associated with a sensuous nature as well, and they can be very grounded. On the slightly not so positive side, if something has too much earth personality, they might find it hard to move, to get moving. So they tend to be sluggish. You can always be balanced in your personality, or you can have a little too much or a little too little. And that's where the positives and the middles and the negatives might come in. The metal personality tends to have a lot of left brain in there. So logical, organized, efficient, very good speakers, orators, communicators, tend to be disciplined. And if there's too much metal, they could be uptight and hold their emotions tightly inside. The water personality tends to be associated with wisdom, deep thinking. They like research. They tend to flow. When challenges pop up, they flow around them. They don't try to push through them or over them. And they usually have a sense of calm and depth to a water person. On the challenging side, a water person can change direction without thinking. So if you're trying to flow with a water person, you need to be able to change direction when they do. Otherwise, it can be a little bit challenging. And the wood person, very creative, strong and yet flexible, can be excitable, full of ideas. Creative is their thing. Energetic, high energy. And a wood person, if there's too much wood, can be like a tough tree that won't bend. They're a bit stubborn. Anybody have any questions there? Now, if you were to choose a personality that suits you the best, what would you choose? Scott, what would you choose?
Well, I have a question at first before I kind of fall in under one. Can you be a mix between the two? Is there like a tornado that has gone through and there's water and wood and metal and earth all over the place? Because
yes, they can.
I have a lot of these.
Yes, they can. We are all a mix of all of them. And I'm going to explain that a little bit shortly, but we're all a mix of all of them. It's just that usually there's one that resonates with you the most. And sometimes.
Okay, all right. So yeah. Aside from seeing myself, a little bit of myself in all of them, I think water and the fact that it's blue, everything in my life.
Oh my gosh, so you're definitely water. But we're going to find out.
Water, for sure.
You didn't tell me you were coming, so I didn't prepare, but we'll try to find out today. Anybody else want to get to guess what they might be? Not if you know already, so that eliminates Christine, Terry, and Kathleen. But Maggie, do you know what you might be? Do you have a guess?
I'm thinking more earth with touches of metal.
Okay. Okay. And what about who else is here who hasn't done this?
Oh, I have a question.
Yes, God.
Is it normal for characteristics of who we are, for example, changing directions quickly? Is it normal for that characteristic in other people to annoy me or frustrate me? Because I don't do well with sudden change that I'm not, you know,
if you're not driving. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
or know of well in advance.
That's a topic of another chat. Okay, but of course it's possible. Yeah. So keep those personalities in mind, and then we're going to take it a little further. We're going to have this, the answers are going to be coming very shortly. There are many different ways of determining what your core element is. You can, a lot of them are based on your date of birth, which is why I ask people for their dates of birth. And among those date of birth systems, there are several different ways of doing it. There are date of birth right down to your year, for your year, your month, your day, your hour, your minute of birth. And those are very, very detailed and precise and give you a full Chinese astrology prediction for your life. That is not what we're doing today. There are other systems that use your date of birth. I am using a Japanese system called the 9-star key, which is actually very easy to use, and it's amazingly accurate. And it only deals with your persona, not your whole life, and the stars that were active when you were born and what's happening this year and next year. The 9-star key just tells us about your persona. And the 9-star key gives you actually, each of us, 3 elements that...
Wendy?
Yes, Terry.
Excuse me. Shireen has a question on the Facebook Live.
Go ahead.
She wants to know, just a minute, is she Earth?
We'll find out shortly. Tell her that is going to be revealed shortly because she did give me her birthday.
Oh, okay. Well, she's watching live. She'll find out.
Welcome, Shireen.
Okay,
is anybody else watching live at the moment?
Yeah.
Hi, Margie. I'm so glad you were able to make it.
Oh, I'm here, darling. I've been here since the beginning, but I can't get.
We saw that you were popping in and out. Okay, so we're going to talk about use the 9-star key, and usually the 9-star key gives you 3 elements. So Scott, this will help you a lot, that this define not only what your core personality element is, but how you behave under stress. So that might explain why you get irritated when people are doing the same things that you like to do. And then the other element tells you what the world sees you like, or sees you as, what element the world sees you as. So, because very often we have a personality that we show to everybody else that's very different from the person you keep close to your heart that you know you really are. That's learned sometimes, but what you actually present has a lot to do with your date of birth and then how life interacts with you. So the 9-star key gives you, based on your date of birth, how you are likely to be seen by the world, how you respond under stress, and your core personality element. Today, we're just going to deal with the core personality element. If you want to learn the other 2 and how they affect you in more detail, I do personal readings for those. So just let me know. All right. So we will continue with using the 9-star key, just the first element, your principal element, the one that determines your core personality. Now, to answer your question, we all express more than one element. It's your date of birth element, however we figure it out, and what happens to you in life, which there goes your environment and your life path and the experiences you have as you grow up and as you become an adult. And those shape, based on your core element and your principal home, your home in your formative years, those determine how the personality, the face, the behavior, your body language for your adult life. And that means that the rest of the world is seeing the product of a whole bunch of things, what you were born and what you evolved. And so what you show and what you may think you are can be very different from what your core element was when you were a nice, pure little energy that arrived in this world. So today we're going to deal with that pure little energy that was your core when you arrived in this world. But know that how you behave now, how you react now, and how other people see you now could be very different because of the accumulation of experiences and how your core element responded to them. Everybody understand?
Yes.
And it is good to know from whence you came. It is good to know the starting point. It helps you understand a whole bunch of things. So let me tell you about the 5 elements that give us 9 personality types in the 9-star key system. We have the 5 elements of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. Somebody else is coming in, let's let them in. We have the 5 elements of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And those 5 give us 9 personality types. So I have them listed here for you. You don't have to memorize them. We're going to go through them again. But they are 1, which is water, 2 earth, 3 wood, 4 wood. Notice there are two woods, 5 earth, 6 metal, 7 metal, 8 earth. So notice there are 3 earths in there and 9 fire. So there are 2 woods, 3 earths, 2 metals, 1 water, and 1 fire represented in the 9 elements, in the 9 personality types. Welcome, Petal.
Hi, sorry to be late.
No worries. So now I'm going to just disclose to the ones who sent me their information early what your core element is. I believe that, Marjorie, you know that you are 9 fire.
Yes, you,
Okay,
yes.
and Christine, you know that you're 3 wood, and Terry knows that you're 6 metal because they have been through this with me before. But for everyone else, Maggie Chen, you are a 3 wood. Stacy isn't here. Maybe she'll catch the replay. Arlene, you are 9 fire. I double checked it, and you have some very powerful numbers there, girl. I'm going to tell you shortly. Petal, Monafi is Petal, by the way, everyone, is a 4 wood. Shireen on Facebook, you are, I'm not seeing it, a 2 earth. And Sandra, who is going to be, she was trying to get in, but I guess she hasn't made it. She is a 1 water. Scott, when we have a little pause, I will figure yours out for you as well. Okay. Actually, do you guys mind if I figure out Scott's while we going along so he'll understand the next slide?
I was just going to ask if you could do it as an actual demo, yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm going to do it for Scott. Tell me your date of birth. I'm going to have to go heads down for a second. Yeah.
Okay, June 2nd, 1986.
1987.
86.
86. Yeah. Hold on. Give me a moment. You guys chat with each other for a moment.
Hi, Christine. Hi, Terry. Hi, anybody else?
And hi to you.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi,
Marjorie.
guys.
Hi,
Hi.
Maggie.
Hello,
Hi.
darling. Hi, darling.
Hi, Terry.
Nice to hear. I can't see you, but I saw you in the beginning. Now I can't see you anymore, but I'm here.
Scott, excuse me,
Great.
did you say 1986 or 87?
1986.
Okay, so Scott, you are a 5 earth. Okay, hold that number. All right. All right, so I'm going to come back on track. So we're going to add Scott in here somewhere. It's 5 earth.
5 earth or
5
quiet earth?
5 earth. Okay.
Okay.
So now I'm going to tell you what that all means. Hold on. I'm going to tell you what that all means. So you might want a moment to find your number and identify the characteristics, the personality characteristics of your number. If you'd like to, guys, you can take a screenshot of this and keep it. You just did. All right. So
Wow.
yes, wow, very powerful number there, Scott.
Wendy, excuse me, Pablo O'Brien on Facebook is saying he's not sure what he is. Did he send you his information?
No, Pablo did not send me his information. Ask him if he wants to send it now. And if you guys don't mind me doing Pablo, I'd be happy to do it.
Okay. Hopefully
This is
hearing that.
unsettling in like the coolest possible way.
What did you say, Scott? It's what?
It's unsettling in like the coolest possible way. It shakes me a little bit to feel known, you know, and to not just it just feels that's exactly right. I develop leader. I'm a writer and an author. I mean, I'm very stubborn, in fact. Wow,
But
it's crazy.
let me tell you something. If I were to do the other two numbers for you, I call them the numbers because they're numbers, but really they relate to the elements. You would be blown away. This is a very simple, elegant system, and yet I found it so accurate. And whenever I go in to do a consultation for a client, I always make sure I know what I'm going into by doing this for them, all the three numbers before I go. And sometimes I have to deal with a family, and the families are having issues of relating to each other in the same space. And so much of it is told to me by the elements and how the elements interact, because some elements don't get along with other elements. They're friends and they're
I know that's right.
yeah, they're friends and they're foes. Guys, think about how useful it would be then to know before you choose a mate or a partner what the elements are, or before you choose a team member to work with you on a project, what the elements are, because then you have a better chance of actual success or having harmony and balance if you understand where they're coming from elementally and where you're coming from elementally. It really is an eye opener. It's mind blowing. So I want to talk. What's that?
I'm sorry, I meant to keep my microphone up. Maintaining and, and creating and maintaining a very healthy ecosystem of.
That is right.
Not necessarily like-minded, but cohesive.
I recommend it to employers. Know the numbers for your people when you're doing the interviews, so you know if you really want them on your team, and understand what elements work well on a team, depending on the function of your team, what you need to achieve with your team. Put the right balance of elements in so that you have huge productivity and not trauma. It's amazing. So did Pablo respond, Terry? Does he want to share his date of birth with us?
Yeah, sorry, I'm switching between apps on my phone because I'm on data, so it takes me a little while.
You do fine. What did Pablo say for his date of birth?
He hasn't responded as yet.
Okay,
So
well, we can move on. If he gets back to you, I'll flip back to him. Yes?
Okay, no problem.
So everybody got their element and noted the personality characteristics of their element. And this is just one of your three elements. So if you're not perfectly comfortable with it, know that there are others that fine tune you better, that are attached to your date of birth. Everybody got theirs? Then I want to speak to Arlene for a moment. Arlene, is it okay if I share with you a little bit more?
Sure.
Okay, so Arlene, when I give you your...
1 second, Wendy, sorry, I got Pablo's information. So whenever you're ready, let me know.
I'm ready. I'll tell Arlene shortly. Go ahead. Go ahead, Terry.
No, okay. Stand by. I'm switching back. He said 19 of the second month, 1978 for him.
One person at a time, please. So he's February 17th, 1978. February 1978. Tell him he is a forward. Write that down, Pablo. You're a forward. Okay. And he wants to share with me his lovely wife, I guess.
Yes. She is in 19th of January, 1990.
Hold on. She is a 2 Earth. Okay.
Okay.
1990, 1990, yes?
Yes. 19 January 1990.
Okay. She's
2 Earth.
Yes. So Pablo and beautiful wife, copy down the personality characteristics attached to forward and 2 Earth, or take a screenshot, and I will talk to Arlene in the meantime. And this is interesting because it is Arlene, when I told Arlene that her primary number was a 9 fire, Arlene doubted me. She was not so keen on that because it doesn't feel like Arlene. Am I right, Arlene? Say something.
You're quite right.
Okay. And yet the numbers don't really lie. That's what I found. So I did, because she asked me about that, she said, I really don't identify with that. I suspect, Arlene, you would have thought you were more an Earth person, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, yes. I would see that too. I would say to people who feel that way, you don't really resonate with your number, think about it. Are you an Earth person now because of what's happened to you in your life and how you've processed it? Or did you feel when you were a little kiddie that those qualities were there already, the Earth person qualities? Because I would suspect that you have evolved over time, Arlene, with the life path that you've chosen, and you identify now more with the Earth. But I would say that it is very likely that this was at your core. And also, I did your other numbers because I was fascinated, since because I know you were uncomfortable with this. Arlene, you have some of the most powerful numbers possible. All right. You have your first number is 9 fire. Your second number is 5 earth. Now that doesn't mean that's not a personality element. That is that tells me that you are very, very strong, but you're also very, very stubborn. All right. And your third number is another 9 fire. Arlene, those numbers, it's almost impossible to have more powerful numbers in the 9-star key system. So whatever you think you might be representing now, if you wanted to conquer the world and stop the war in the Ukraine, you have the numbers that could do it.
Oh my goodness.
So, do you accept this mission or not?
Now I'm very intrigued. I have to accept it.
You can do anything you want with those numbers, honey. But
Wow.
we tend to accept what we have grown into as our comfort level. But as of today, there's no need to stay there. If you want to return to what basically you are at core, there's no reason not to create a new beginning and embrace where you came from. But life does happen, and life does put layers on us, and we adjust and adapt for survival, for growth, for comfort, and then it becomes what we know. All right, the choice is yours. I'm giving you the information. Okay.
Thank you.
Wasn't that fascinating, everyone? So what do you do with your core element? We've already talked about a few things. You can understand yourself better. You can make decisions for yourself better, right, Arlene? You can understand your personal relationships better, because if you understand your elements, and like Pablo just did, you get the elements for your spouse or your partner or the potential partner or your friends, you will understand better. One, if you pursue the study of the elements and understand which ones get along and which ones don't, and how you can work with an element to make it harmonious between you and them. And by the way, guys, I do have a workshop that teaches that. You can make your relationships better or more harmonious, or you can learn this is never going to work. I can walk away, because no matter what we do, it's always going to be an uncomfortable situation. You can choose the same path with your business relationships. You can decide that you want to choose your business partners or your teams based on the elements that are needed in that partnership or in that team. You can hire people according to their personalities based on the environment that you're going to place them in and the job that you require them to do, because each of these elements behaves differently in a work setting. Okay, consider this. A wood person would be the creative person on the team. A water person is the person who would love to do the research and go around the problems. You won't be climbing over the problems, they'll be going around the problems. But a water person can be easily distracted. So maybe you need to have a metal person on the team, because a metal is very logical, very left brain, very efficient. Hold on, Scott, coming to you in a sec. Very efficient, and will keep the water person on track. And the metal person also is a really good speaker. So maybe they'd be great at presenting your project to the board of directors eventually. The earth person is very stable and harmonious. And with the earth person on the team, harmony is more easily achieved. And the fire person is inspiring and dynamic and can inspire people to come in and work overtime when needed to make the deadlines. You can choose your teams depending on what you need for the team. You can use the elements that you know about to choose your wardrobe. You might need a little pick-me-up today, and you might choose your wardrobe accordingly using the elements. And by the way, there's a little workshop coming up in April that is about feng shui and your style. And if anybody's interested, I can connect you with the people who are giving it. Career choices. Some elements work better in certain careers. That's another study. And you can, of course, use the elements in your personal space, whether it be your home space or your office space or your home office, to support your own personal element. Knowing the elements is awesome. All right, it's one of the things I love. I think in terms of the elements, and I'm encouraging you to explore them a little deeper if you enjoyed today's introduction. So, Scott, let me answer your question. Pop yourself up.
Yeah, I hope it's okay. Thank you so much for allowing me to ask the question. I'm a board member for a corporation that has several different types of companies, and we do employ hiring services and personnel, human resource companies and agencies to investigate and to test future employees or prospective employees for their, you know, for the fit on into the culture and into our team and based on their experience. Where would you include this type of test within that kind of sequence? You know, would it be after a series of interviews and getting a feel for their personality, or would you have them take all of these tests before you meet with them, and then make a decision after you've gotten a feel for, you know, the technical in terms of, you know, the answers to the quizzes, and then the practical or the personal, the interaction with the person?
So Scott, I'm not going to give you a clear answer, because when you get the person's application, you're going to have their date of birth. It'd be easy enough for you to hire someone who knows how to do this, and you can know right away that's a strong metal person. In fact, you know the 3 elements, how they're going to behave when they're under stress and how they're going to interact with the team. But because people are very many, not single dimensional, with so many multidimensionals, that person may have other things that you want. And so I would have that as an information bit, just the way you have the resume. I would have it as a bit of information, and then I would still do the intake. All right, and form your decision from the multitude of things. I would. It's another piece of useful information, but it's not the whole person. There are too many dimensions in a person. Yes? Okay. Hope that was helpful to everyone who has staff or employees or team to work with. Okay, so who wants to know what the energy of 2022 brings to your elements, your primary element? Audience, yes. Okay.
Bring it on, bring it on.
This is what the extra bit I added. I was initially just going to give you a chart and everybody could copy down what it meant to them. But I thought, no, I want to talk it through. So that's why this is going to go a little longer than the normal half an hour. We're going to go into a little overtime now, because I'm going to talk through every single element, and that way you can ask me questions. Yes, Scott? Okay, you can lower your hand then if you don't have a question. You're muted.
I'm sorry, I just panicked because I had my hand up and I didn't want to have it up anymore. And
don't panic, Scott, it's all good. Okay, so folks, we're going to run through each of the numbers. Remember, there are 9 numbers coming from 5 elements. I'm going to run through each of them, and then if that is your element, then you can ask me a question. Now, before we go into the detail, I'm going to tell you the overall. There are 9 numbers. Each of them has an element. Some of the elements are repeated. There's a cycle of 9 years. So this is nothing to do with the year of the tiger. This is nothing to do with 2022 itself. This is to do with the cycling of the energy with the years, with the cosmos, yes, but in series of 9. This is a different system, all right? So each year, there's a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that's attached to a particular year. It just so happens in 2022, every single one of you, your numbers, is back in the house of itself. In other words, right now, if you are 9 fire like Marjorie, myself, and Arlene, you would be back in the house of 9 fire. And Christine, who is a 3 wood, would be back in the house of 3 wood. This year, every element is back in its own house. Last year, we were not. Next year, we will not. This is a comfort year for each of you in terms of your element, but there's pros and cons to that. All right. So know your number, know your element, and I'm going to run through, but you're in your own house, and that is always a nice place to be before things start kicking you about again in the other houses. Ready? Let's do it. So anybody here who's a 1 water? I think we had one.
Yeah, you did. You had one. I can't remember.
I had one on the chart. Don't know if they're present or if they're in the Facebook. Okay. Now the energy of a 1 water, for 1 water person, the energy this year, because the energy of water is tends to be still water or calm water, not a tsunami. The energy is, when you're in a water year, the energy is one of planning or beginning. The feeling is dormant, sort of floating, waiting, quiet, anticipating. You're a little vulnerable, you're a little open. It's a really good time this year for self-reflection, planning, and self-development, and listening to your intuition. It's a great time to take stock, review, and plan for the future years when things are going to be different. You're going to be in other houses. It's a good time because any work you do this year will benefit you when you're not in your own house, when the energy is more active and you're in other people's houses. So this is a year to plan, be quiet, be still, and listen to your intuition and plan for the future. Okay, moving on. Number 2, we had a 2 earth somewhere. I think we did. Pablo's wife was a 2 earth. And do we have any 2 earths in this group on Zoom? Okay, well, this is for Pablo's beautiful wife. The energy of 2 earth is the energy of Mother Earth. Remember I said there are 3 earths. Each of the earth elements have different personas. This is the Mother Earth element. It's the divine feminine. It's the nourishing, it's the nurturing energy of the earth. So when you are in a earth person, a 2 earth person in a 2 earth house, this is a time for being quiet, going within, sort of slowing down, feeling. This is a time to finalize or clear any outstanding projects or paperwork or stuff that's been carrying on with you, following you around, because it's a time now for you to prepare the soil to go forward. It's a time for you to plant new seeds, but before you plant the new seeds, you don't plant them on top of the rocks. You don't plant them in a soil that is not going to receive them. You prepare the soil. So get rid of the clutter in your life first and prepare yourself quietly and calmly for planting new seeds this year. That's the energy of this year. What will you choose to plant? Well, that's up to you. What do you choose to bring into your life? That's up to you. But this is the year for planting seeds for the future is coming to you. All right. Again, a theme of new beginnings. Any questions from Pablo? Now, it's a very quiet time for the 2 earth in a 2 earth year. It's a quiet energy. It's not a crazy, wild energy. It's a quiet energy.
No, no questions from Pablo at this time.
Thank you. Now we're moving on to 3 wood. We have a 3 wood here. Do I hear the 3 wood talking? Christine Francois is a 3 wood. I know that. The energy of 3 wood in a 3 wood year is sprouting. It's an energetic year. It's very impulsive, creative, sprouting. It's new beginnings personified, because the 3 wood is a very upward rising energy any case. It's the energy of new leaves and buds and growth. And the movement is quick and vibrant and fast and healthy and strong. Think springtime, as is happening now in the Northern Hemisphere. This is a time when, if you had planted seeds last year, your seeds will begin to sprout. It's a time for starting new things, but actually doing doing the new things, working with the new things, not thinking about them anymore, following through. Questions, anyone? So did we have any forwards in the Zoom room with me?
Me.
Me, who's me?
Petal.
Petal is a forward, okay. Petal, it's another.
That was a little surprising to me. I'm usually some kind of somewhere, so it was a little surprising to me.
It all depends on the system. And if you're looking, for instance, I know Maggie was talking about being a metal ox. Maggie, that's a different system. That's definitely the Chinese astrology is tied in with the year of the tiger and the year of the metal ox, etc., etc. Very valid too. This one is only about your personality. And I find it also very, very useful to have both. All right. So just embrace the process and see how it feels. The energy of forward petal is one, remember it's another wood. We had 3 wood before. That's the spring energy, the springtime energy. Forward is the mature wood energy. It's kind of like a big tree that's already fully rooted and strong. Notice the big roots on this tree of life. You have your branches, you're actually bearing fruit. You're strong, but you're still flexible and you can still bend, but you don't bend as much as the little shoots and buds that were coming up on the previous slide. You are more powerful. You're quiet, powerful. You're basically embracing the growth of the projects or the growth of the seeds that you had planted before that sprung up. You're now embracing them. You're living your fullness. And that could go on for a long time. So the feeling of you being in a forward year is one of more growth, more expansion, but flourishing, because you are strong now. And the feeling is it's a lot of growth going on, even though you're strong. So you got to keep an eye not to overdo it and lose the moment, lose more, burn out, you lose your spark because you overdo it, because you're putting out too many fruit or too many leaves at the same time. So maintain stability and momentum, stay focused. But it is a time of beautiful, rapid growth. And it's easy though to get swept away with the excitement and overdo it for yourself. So be aware of that. Stay rooted, stay grounded, do all the practices you need to stay rooted and grounded. You can do both. You can reach high and get those flowers and leaves up to the sky, but you must make sure your roots are strong and stable and well nurtured and nourished. You must stay stable.
The
Question?
description of the actual forward was spot on. I think it was just the idea that it was wood and not earth. I was like, wood, really? But when I read the description, I was like, okay, yeah.
That sounds like me. That sounds like me.
Yeah. And hearing this description now of the energy for this year and what it means, it's definitely resonating. So
it resonates. I'm so delighted. So do we have a 5 earth? Yes, I know we do. At least one. Scott, do we have any other 5 earths? Okay. Okay, we have somebody asking, Petal, you asking about your hubby. I'm gonna have to hold on that for a sec. Well, Scott is leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah, he enjoyed it. Yes, he enjoyed it, but he left. A pity he didn't get to hear his own. Okay, and he just left 1 minute ago. Okay, so we have the 5 earth, and the 5 earth is a very, very powerful earth. It is the earth, like the earth. That's why we have this picture. It's not the mother earth part. This is the man earth part, if you get my drift. And in this year, when the 5 earth person is in the 5 earth house, I call it, the energy is one of change and fluctuation. There's a feeling of unpredictable movement in many directions. It's a very unsettling time. It's a time when a 5 earth has to use all its power to remain centered and stable, but it's a great time with that feeling of fluctuation for the 5 earth person to reinvent themselves. It's a huge year for a 5 earth person to be in the 5 earth house, but it can be very challenging. So it can be chaotic fluctuations, crossroads, signs leading you in different directions. It's a great time to reassess what you've been doing and where you want to go and choose. Do you need to let something go? Do you want to recreate your whole life, redesign yourself? This is the time, but it's not easy. It's a challenging time, but a time of great power for the 5 earth and a 5 earth house. Okay. Now, do we have any 6 metals? I think we have Terry, right? I think we have a 6 metal in Terry.
Yeah,
okay.
6 metal.
Okay, so the 6 metal energy, when you remember we have 2 metals, 6 and 7. The 6 metal energy is the raw ore, the metal that comes out of the earth, the pure gold, the pure silver, the pure copper. That's the kind of metal it is. It's got a different personality from the energy of 7 metal, which is more refined, okay? And the energy of a 6 metal person in a 6 metal house is the energy, Terry, of prosperity. The feeling is that the dreams and hopes and activities that you've been carrying they are bearing fruit. It's like when you're going into the orchard and collecting the avocados, you're beginning to harvest. All right, it's a very satisfying feeling. You can see the fruit and you're ready to pick. It's a time though, so you'll find that your harvest feels rich, and you also find that you'll be recognized for the work that you put in to make this harvest happen. So you'll be recognized for your skills, your knowledge, your work. You can begin to gather in the fruit of your labor. It is a year of hard work. Remember, harvesting fruit, avocados are heavy. Harvesting fruit can be quite hard work, but it's a very satisfying year because after all the years before, you begin to see the fruit of your labors. That's what this year is about, and feel abundant with it as well. It's a feeling of prosperity, even as it's coming. What you need to do is maintain moderation and don't overtax yourself, because it is exciting to see these things rolling your way, but don't overdo it because it's a hardworking year. Questions, Terry?
No. Great. That's all very interesting, and I'm seeing some of this stuff play out already.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so now, do we have any 7 metals? Any 7 metals in Facebook, Tara? Okay, I'll run through 7 metal. Run through 7 metal. 7 metal is the metal that is more refined. It's like metal that's been made into jewelry, metal that's been carved, metal that's made into, put into the hilts of swords. It's refined metal. It takes the energy of metal, but then adds a polish to it. So 7 metal in a 7 metal house this year, the energy is one of celebration. We've done the harvest. We got the money from selling all the avocados. We can relax and enjoy the energy of this year, we can find ourselves in the hammock and say, work well done, money's in the bank, the fields are cleared. There's this moment of enjoying the fruit of your labor and being able to look back and say, yes, it was good. You know that when in the creation story, God rested on the seventh day. The seventh metal is doing that in the seven metal house, resting and saying it was good. Okay, it's a time when you feel that you can celebrate your accomplishments and feel a sense of satisfaction in what you have done. Anybody have questions on seven metal in seven metal house? Let us move on to eighth earth. Do we have any eighth earths in the family? Okay, the eighth earth energy is one that's associated with the energy of mountains. So we had the two earth, which was the very ultimate female. Then we had the five earth, which is like the conquering energy. And now the mountain energy, a strong, stable, very, very still energy. Wise. It's been there from millennia, the ages. It's just powerful, but it doesn't move very fast. And the energy of an eighth earth person in an eighth earth year is one of stillness and strength. The feeling, though, is the calm before the storm. The eighth earth person may feel that they're not sure what's coming next, what's happening next. They will be happy to stay still and quiet and contemplate what's going on inside themselves and their connection to the earth itself and to everything that's going on in the planet. But it is a time when you stay flexible, calm, and grow yourself, work on your insides. It's a quiet time. Take care of things that need to be taken care of so that your life isn't full of clutter. Because before, when you were doing the harvesting, you were doing the building and the growing and then the harvesting in previous years, you may not have had time to do all the miscellaneous tidying up of things. This is a year to clear the slate, because next year, the eighth earth person will be in a fire year and the energy is very different. So use the quietness and the contemplative time of the eighth year for your also organizing outstanding things that need to be sorted out before you go forward. If you're an eighth earth person next year, you're going to be in the year of the fire. And so let's talk about the fire. We have 3 fire people in this group. So the 9 fire person in a 9 fire energy year is a very powerful place. The energy is one of full bloom, being vibrant, dynamic. If your career or life path allows you, being visible to the world, feeling adventurous, optimistic, wanting to try new things. It's a time when you can achieve rapid growth, rapid development, and yes, visibility. You can achieve things this year. Fire is about also things being brought to light. There's a feeling that what was hidden, including what's inside yourself, can be shown to the world. But what was hidden in the world can also come out and be shown to light. What was hidden in other people. The element of fire brings light onto darkness. So you can see clearly yourself and others can really see you. Things that were scary and hidden will no longer feel so scary and they will not be hidden if you live the life of a fire person in the fire year. Don't be afraid to be seen for who you really are. And if that means that people then give you recognition and admiration, don't be shy. That is at your core. Those are the 9 elements in the 9 houses. Anybody have any questions?
Wendy?
Yes.
Yes, there's a question from Facebook from Sandra York.
Yeah, so she's here. Okay.
She wants to know, as a 1 water, is it that I should not start anything new this year?
Okay, did she listen into the 1 water information?
I don't know because she did, that's all, let me see. She said, yes, she should have been because she's been live since the beginning.
Okay, wonderful. Sandra, it's not that you shouldn't. And folks, let me tell you, the energy of the house that you're in doesn't mean you have to follow what I'm guiding you to, telling you about. I'm giving you information. It's always your choice what you do. And remember, I'm giving you this information. You've already been planning, you've been doing, your year has started. No problem. It's good information. Because if you are aware of the energy of the space that you're in, the energy is affecting you personally this year, then when things go awry or they're challenging, you might realize, yeah, that's because this year the energy does not support starting that new project. but I'm starting it anyway because I had planned to start it from last year and I want to start it and have other people involved in starting it. So we're going to go through, but you might find because the energies don't support you doing that, it's a little bit harder for you. You might have more obstacles. You might have to put more elbow grease into achieving the same thing that you would achieve more easily if you were working with the energy of the house that you're in. It's kind of like, are you swimming with the current or against the current? Doesn't mean you're not going to get from A to B, but it's a lot more energy required from you to swim against the current and get to the destination, Sandra. So this is information only. People are in their own places in their own lives and they have things that they have to do and they have things that they have been doing and they're not necessarily going to stop because Wendy told them this is a year for new beginnings. But if you find it really easy, it could be because you're using the energy of the year that is affecting your energy. If you find it really hard, check and see if you're doing stuff that was not supported by the energy of the year as it applied to your element. Does that answer your question, Sandra? So in other words, you don't have to ride the energy of the year, but if you do, it feels a lot easier. You're resonating at the same place, at the same frequency. Okay, so if any one of you would like to learn more about the 5 elements and how to use them in your day, in your life, in your team building, in your choosing your wardrobe, in your home, I do have a wonderful little workshop. It's about 2 hours. It's available for you. It's a pre-recorded thing. You can play it anytime you want. And I would love to have you sign up for it. Okay. And if you would like to get your, yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I'm just letting you know that Sandra responded and said, yes, thanks for the information. It was helpful.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so glad, Sandra. And if you would like to have your other 2 elements presented to you, as I did to Arlene, just contact me personally and we'll see what can be done. Okay. So anybody have any extra questions? We kind of way over time. Anybody have any extra questions? Marjorie's laughing hysterically. Yes.
It was great, Wendy. But for the 9 fire, you're a 9 fire as well, aren't you?
Okay, sorry. I'm a 9 fire as well. I'm just reading the chat. Maggie says, intriguing talk. I need to know more. That's wonderful, Maggie. So I recommend the workshop. Okay, so I'm going to do the last slide, which says, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And now I am going to terminate the share and come back to where I can see your faces. And if you have any questions, please, here I am. Marjorie, go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
Yeah, but just in the 9 fire, it says that we're not team players, and I think we're big team players.
Yes. May I make a little what can I say? Reveal.
A little reveal, yes.
I'm not good at being a team player. I'm good at leading a team, and that's the 9 fire energy, Marjorie.
Right. We can be leaders, but play really well with the other members.
That's you, Marjorie.
I agree. I agree with Marjorie.
That's Marjorie and Arlene, but I find I can play with the other members, but I'm in my best place when I'm leading. I was a boxing captain and I lead really well because I am very good with my members and I inspire. That's another 9 fire thing. You inspire people and they want to follow you. That's I have developed my leading role in the team. So yes, I'm great with teams, but usually in a leadership position. And
that makes sense. Yeah.
And I can follow, but I tend to end up being in the leadership position, even if I start off following.
But you want to have, the thing is, the way we are is we really want to be with our tribe and our team.
Yes.
We're not isolated.
No.
We're not ever, we play well.
We play well. That's right. And let me tell you, the 9 fire energy, it empowers a team.
Yes.
That's what it does. All right. Okay. Whatever the team needs, a 9 fire empowers them and inspires them. I'm not blowing my own horn. It's just the energy that we have. And I use it. I use it for my life. Okay. And I have a question for the ones who don't know. If you were going to choose an energy for me other than 9 fire, what would you have chosen for me, Maggie and Petal?
Be anything but fired.
There you go.
You couldn't be exclusively any of them, but you're very organized and clear about what you're doing. but that doesn't take away from being the fire. It's
No,
just that it's an important piece of who you are, how you manage to be who you are is because you have that ability
but
to
Marjorie,
manage.
again, you are right. I have a strong metal as one of my other elements.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so you know, so the organized and the logical and the big ability to speak come from the
Yes.
other elements.
And
Guys,
flying metal airplane.
metal airplanes by checklists and plan ahead for New York. So it is really amazing when you know your three elements, you go, oh yes, wow, yes, now I understand. It's really fun. All right, so
Yes.
I encourage you to get to know the elements better in yourself and your partner and any key people in your life and see whether that can be used in relationship building. For instance, when you have conflict between you and your partner or your friend or your children, think, oh, whatever your element is that handles you under stress is clashing with their element that they feel under stress. If I were to not show that element and just apply some earth to them, that might be able to work with their element. If you understand the elements, you can consciously change the dynamics of a situation by giving the other person what they need for calming down, and their elements that work together for harmony, the elements that clash and the elements that calm each other down. An understanding of the 5 elements, to me, how does anybody live without them? Having said that, I want to thank you guys very, very much for being here and staying with me and for the wonderful questions. Is there anybody else that has a question, or shall we wrap it up?
I have a question. I just wanted to find out, where did you say the recorded workshop was?
Maggie, it's on my my website, and I will give you the link. I'll be sharing the link on the chat soon. All right, but it's on the Healing Spaces Caribbean website.com. Okay.
Okay, thank
All right. If you look for the workshops tab, you'll find your fire in there. Okay. All right. In fact, this is another reveal. I have just rebranded, as you've seen my logo, and I've just recreated my website, and it's actually going to be launched tonight in some of my other venues, and I'm launching it on the Tribe on the weekend. All right. So it's now ready for you to go. Yes, it's been a long journey. So
Way to go.
many blessings. Thank you guys. I feel very, very touched that you're still here with me. This was supposed to be a half-an-hour session, and here we are. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, everybody.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Bye.